What is up, everybody? This is Brian, the Toyota guy over here at Fred Anderson Toyota in Asheville. And today I am super excited because I get to spend a few minutes at least with a Toyota Land Cruiser First Edition. So let's go take a look. If you want to see more Toyota videos with some of the new cars that we have here in Asheville, make sure to subscribe to this channel. As you can see behind me, I have basically a whole bank of vehicles that if I get time, I want to spend time with. There's a Terra TRD Pro, there's a GR Corolla Circuit Edition, and I'm overdue for spending some more time with the new Tacomas, especially now that we've got a few different options here, including this really good looking underground off-road over there. So make sure to sub to this channel to let me know that you want to see those videos. If you want to see anything specific that we might have here at Toyota, leave me a comment and let me know. Now, back to the video. All right, guys, here she is. This is the first Land Cruiser First Edition we're going to get here. There's going to be 5,000 of these that are made total. Every dealership should have had one of these on their first allocation. For the Southeast, that's 177 dealers, which means there's going to be more coming if you do the math on that. So I think we're going to have, probably 6 months or so where they're going to have availability on these, and then once they're built and sold, they're going to be gone. But 5,000 is still a pretty decent quantity for these things. And this one, our first one, is the sand color. Couple options are the two-tone, so it actually has the white roof, and then you've also got the Nitto Ridge grapplers here, which I would have thought those actually would have come standard with it on the first edition at least. But there you go, 265, 70, 18. So I think that's roughly like a 35, give or take, 34 and a half. If we look up underneath here, really nice design. Rock shields, there's the 360 camera, which is great for the trail. The rigid lighting, such gorgeous body lines. With the two-tone roof, it definitely gives it that feeling of like a FJ Cruiser or any of the older Land Cruisers. And man, the dimensions on this I think are just perfect. It's certainly a lot smaller than the previous Land Cruisers, but seeing it in person, I feel like it's actually bigger than I saw or felt like it was going to be from just looking at the pictures. I think a lot of that is just because you've got these nice big sculpted fenders, which the Ridge grapplers actually fill those nicely. A little bit of accents here, kind of like with the Trail Teams editions with the old FJs and the TRD Pros. You've got the rock slider. Wouldn't really call it a step, but I do like how you've got these mud guards in the front and rear, and they actually have these little stabilizer straps here, and I imagine that's just to kind of help keep those mud flaps from slapping around or going too crazy, getting loose. You can see it's on the front here as well. The key for this is interesting. So this is a regular Toyota key fob, except for just has the Land Cruiser on the back. I was maybe kind of hoping it would be like a super fancy special key, but it's a Toyota. Looks like it's supposed to. You do have power folding mirrors on this, which is nice to see with an off-road vehicle. That can become handy both in a residential and off-road environment. You do have this really nice roof rack that's included. It stops before it gets to the front sunroof, so you can still get full access to the sunroof and open and close that nicely. But if you want to put like a rooftop tent on or accessories, or if you just like the look, there you go. Much like the old Highlanders, you've got a split opening tailgate. Here is the camera for the rear view mirror that's up there on the inside. I will note, I was messing around with this. It's a little bit, I feel like that's very easy to break. So if you're looking at these, make sure if you're putting stuff in the back, last thing you want to do is hit that camera on a very expensive car. You've got a power tailgate, which I'll be excited to see. That'll be coming for the 4Runners as well. So this will be kind of a preview of that. If I can actually open it, there we go. So if we look back here, it's so interesting to see. This is going to be a third row vehicle overseas, but you can see here, because they've opted to make the hybrid system standard, underneath of this floor is actually where the hybrid batteries are. But that's why you also get these extra cup holders and these phone chargers that are back here. And you could even see it has that same kind of raised floor panel like you'd expect to see in a car with the third row. So overseas you get the third row, but here in the US you get the hybrid system. So a little bit of a tray there, but still a nice flat load floor. Tons of headroom. Look, there's even air vents back here. That's so funny. Definitely a North American Toyota thing. If we look here in the back seats, this actually feels a lot like a 4Runner as far as the way it's set up in here, the space, except you do have the rear AC controls that are back here. Interestingly enough, there are no heated rear seats on these. You can see the extra tweeters, extra speakers for the JBL system. I will say these door cards are nice. It says first edition embossed on the doors, even on the rear door. It's pretty cool to see. Up front here as well, of course, you'd expect a fully powered front driver and passenger seat. If we look inside the interior here, really nice modern setup. Still has a very classic Toyota feel. You've got the nice bigger display on this, all the features you'd expect to have here. Heated, ventilated seats, of course, auto climate control. Here's how you can get to the 360 camera, and then all of the off-road goodies are had from down here. So here's your four-wheel drive selector, so you can just move it from high 4 or into low range pretty easily. This is your center lock and rear locking diff. Of course, your stabilizer bar disconnect, which is going to be really nice. All these things are going to give this a lot more capabilities than the Land Cruisers of the past. Here's going to be your drive modes, which is going to be both your off-road drive modes as well as your multi-terrain selector. You can see you can actually cycle through the modes here. And then there's your downhill assist with the crawl control. Let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat and take a view from that vantage point. So interesting quick note I just learned about that I didn't catch in the earlier part of the video is this car, this Land Cruiser, does actually require premium. So this is, again, the first one of these that I've seen with the iForce Max, and I'm not sure if that means all of them are going to have that, or if that's just going to be a requirement for the Land Cruiser and maybe the TRD Pro of the 4Runner and Tacoma, but I thought it was an interesting note that this does require premium. All right, so taking a look at the driver's side over here. Did not expect this, but you do have this nice leg extender. It's not powered or anything, but it has a nice easy release, which I think is great because I think car seats are getting too small, especially in the thigh area. Go ahead and crank this up for the first time. This, of course, is the same exact 2.4 liter turbocharged engine with the hybrid system that Toyota is rolling out in a few of their cars. The 4Runner, the Tacoma, there's going to be all kinds of different versions of this. I think this is basically Toyota's new global architecture here. Is the 2.5 liter hybrid as well as the turbo hybrid. You can see right here, this is the same digital display you'd expect. Same screen as what's in the Highlanders and soon to be the 4Runners. So this is Toyota's Drive Connect system. It does wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and of course it's got satellite radio, and it's actually pretty easy to operate. Ever since they've updated this software to the new system, I think it's really easy to use. A little bit more work to get it set up, but once you've got it set up, I think it's easy to operate. But really nice, just clicky automatic shifter with the manual shift mode. Nice beefy steering wheel. Same exact button layout, so if you're familiar with the Toyota, this is going to look the same. The adaptive cruise, the lane keep assist, and then of course the controls here for the main display. But exactly the same layout as far as where the buttons are, but just a little bit more beefier, blockier look. And the RAV4s and even the Tacomas and 4Runner so far, these buttons are pretty much universal. So it looks like they've gone for a more specific steering wheel here for the Land Cruiser. And I'll be curious to see if this has the same steering wheel in the 4Runners. Got the first edition here on the door as well on the front as the back, which I'd kind of expect. I'm kind of shocked to see that nowhere else in here, I could be missing something, but if you don't include the floor mats, I don't see Land Cruiser anywhere in here, which I feel like is kind of a missed opportunity. I was hoping there'd be, you know, Land Cruiser or something here. It is totally different because what they've done with the 4Runner and the Tacoma is they've put those logos all over. Even in the Tundra, has got big Tundra logos across the dashboard. So my only assumption is with the Land Cruiser here, they're wanting to tone that down a little bit and give people a little bit, I don't know, more luxurious experience. It is interesting to see. You can actually look at the IR that just popped up there a minute ago, but this is part of the new driver safety features with Toyota Safety Sense. So this is actually supposed to keep an eye on you while you're driving and make sure that you're not keeping your you know, focus off the road and things like that. So I'm actually curious to see that in the Land Cruiser. I was not expecting that, but I hadn't gone that far reading it. We do also have the heads-up display. Almost missed that feature. It's kind of hard to catch on camera. Yeah, there you go. But there's the heads-up display, which is an awesome feature to have. I have it in one of my my BMW, and it's fantastic, especially when it comes to navigation, speed, and for Toyota, it also does the road sign detection and the some of the stuff on that screen as well. So really nice setup. As far as switches, here are your rigid fog lights. Of course, your normal controls for the back door, gas pump, your trailer brake controller, which is nice to see, comes standard here. And then of course your parking sensors. So really easy to get to. There, interestingly enough, is a blank here. And then I noticed over here where the camera button is, there's a blank underneath of the center console there, underneath of the camera button. This is, of course, is the same camera that's, you know, pretty similar now in all the Toyotas that have the 360 camera. It's actually a really nice, very clear setup. In vehicles of the past, we're looking at the sky with the hatch open, but with vehicles of the past, I don't think the fidelity was really that sharp. And I'm glad to say that Toyota actually has finally modernized that system and looks really good now. So man, really cool looking car. I've only got a couple minutes with this thing, so I'm trying to run through this quick. We've got the cool box here. So this is not a refrigerator, but if you can hear the vents are going, this will kind of pump some of that nice cold air into here. This is kind of an old school throwback feature for Toyotas. It does actually have a little bit of rubber gasket around to try to seal it in there, but it's gonna try to blast some cold air in there. So if you got sandwiches or drinks or something like that you want to keep fresh, you can put it in there and it'll keep things at a nice temperature. So kind of a cool use of center console. A lot of older Toyotas have had that. I unfortunately have not been cool enough to have one with that. This down here, man, it reminds me of like the old CD changers from back in the day. So last but not least, for those that are curious to look at the Moroni label, the window sticker on this car. So you can see right here, manufacturer MSRP before any ads is $75,300. That's before destination and everything. You can see this one does have, from the factory, the two-tone roof, which is an option. And then as far as port options, this is where I mentioned that it has the Nitto Ridge Grappler tires. So again, I was not expecting that to not come standard, but here they are. Looks perfect with it. Southeast Toyota's Toyo Guard, illuminated door sills, and a couple other smaller things there. So you can see out the door, or at least with all the port fees, $79,720. So interestingly enough, it's a lot cheaper. It's the most expensive Land Cruiser they're going to make right now. Certainly fully loaded, but it is a lot cheaper than the Land Cruisers that we've had before. All right, guys, so quick video with the Land Cruiser. So I didn't have to have more time to spend with it. This vehicle was already sold the first day it was allocated to us. And naturally, when you have a $90,000 vehicle, last thing I want to do is, you know, take it down the road or do anything with it that's going to harm this vehicle for somebody else. So I'm just more than happy to have spent a few miles or a few minutes in this car. As you can tell, I'm kind of stumbling over myself. This is kind of an exciting thing to see, but I'll be really looking forward to having more of these. At some point, I'm hoping we'll get a 1958 and I'll be able to spend time with that and see kind of the differences with the base model. I think that's going to be a really popular option for folks. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great day.